Ken Cuccinelli joins me now, no stranger to the show, and someone who we have relied on for accurate information from Homeland Security when it came to immigration issues, issues with China, other policy issues. Now a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and they're assembling an all-star team, by the way, adding Ken Cuccinelli, who's on the line with me, Mark Morgan, and Chad Wolf as new fellows. So, congrats! Sounds like the team is up in its game. Ken, good to have you here.
David, always good to be with you.
I say the team, but important to this is the background. Before we get to some of the issues, pulling together the right people on policy to assess, to look at the things for what they are, the complexities and the necessities of policy, something that is too often sorely lacking when it comes to a lot of issues facing this nation.
Yeah, well, it's easy to get lost in a lot of the heated, passionate rhetoric, and there are good reasons to be passionate about many of these issues, but you still have to think. You still have to get it right. You still have to then implement it. Way back when, I'm an official geek engineer, I was a patent lawyer, and 97%, this is an old statistic, I assume it's still roughly true, 97% of all patents never get used. And a lot of inventors think, oh gosh, I invented it and now the money will roll in. No. Execution is absolutely critical. So, it's one thing to have policy ideas like we did in the Trump administration, but then implementing them is very challenging. On the other hand, just ripping things out is easy. Abandonment is easy. One of my favorite, my apologies to all your French listeners, one of my favorite French jokes is, you see the French Army rifle on eBay. It was a great deal. Never fired, dropped once. Surrender is easy. Abandonment is easy. And that's what the Biden administration is doing with respect to national security at the border and on immigration. So it's very, very sad to see. It's very destructive to America, and most especially to poor Americans who have the hardest time competing to raise their wages. And now that labor pool is being illegally expanded massively to make it all the harder for them to make more money, even when they desire to do so. And of course, the same people who are giving us these open borders, David, are also out there screaming for a $15 an hour minimum wage. It's completely illogical. You want to get to a $15 an hour minimum wage, then enforce immigration law and let poor people bid up their own value to businesses in a tighter labor market. That's good for poor people, American poor people, instead of being the welfare provider to the world, which is what the Biden program does for us.
Let's talk about the legal weeds, because with all these executive orders by now President Biden, we saw Texas fight back initially. They got a 14-day temporary restraining order. That, I think, is about due for court this week for the next round. But how do, whether it's the Congress or other states, or states for that matter, fight back effectively from a legal perspective against these executive orders?
Well, one way is people like Ken Paxton, the all-star Attorney General of Texas. They bring suit because it hurts their states and violates the law. That 100-day pause, so-called pause on deportations, the statutes, the laws say ICE's job is deporting people, so obviously illegal aliens. But Ken Paxton sued. He got a stay of that, a stay of that order, if you will. And that was recently extended by a judge in Texas. But the problem with that is if you're in ICE and you're leading ICE, the agency that does deportations, you got to live with this president. So a court may say you have to deport people, but you're kind of caught between, your boss and the court. And you can bet Alejandro Mayorkas doesn't care about many of the human concerns here. Many of the human concerns here. He is hell-bent on pushing the radical immigration agenda on behalf of President Biden, and that's what's going to happen under this administration, absent court restraint. So people like Attorney General Paxton, the other attorneys general, I expect to be on the front lines of defending the states and America against some of these illegal policies. There are some things, hey, elections have consequences. They get to do some things, but they have to do them within the boundaries of the law, and not obeying the law isn't one of their options.
Yeah, and maybe the problem is they do them within the boundaries of, or outside the boundaries of ideology, and not within the boundaries of law, as you've just described. When we hear things coming out of the Biden administration, it may cause undue stress to continue deportations. It ignores the stress you're talking about on the economy, on the community, on the people, and the resources that are needed. And to that point, Ken, on resources, there seems to be an effort underway to under-resource, as in number of beds, ICE budget, funding. I mean, this is a combined attack. It's not an approach. It's an attack on an immigration system, and two agencies, you have DHS and ICE combined, that are being pressured to not do their jobs in many ways.
Oh, no question about it. And that's so, I mean, look at the Obama administration. Remember the invention of guidance documents? I mean, they came up with a whole new, I'll call it a legal tool. It was really to sidestep existing law. And in terms of what you described, David, they'll absolutely pressure the people that are there. Well, look, the court has said we have to keep deporting people. We'll slow it down, use smaller planes, spread out the trips. That's what you're going to see. Those kinds of orders are going to come down. And will Texas be able to get discovery on all of that? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But thank goodness there are people, heroes like Ken Paxton out there, who are willing to fight.
Yeah, those are our domestic issues, but we will be covering a lot of the international issues that arise out of this, and other countries and how they deal with us becomes a part of this. We have a lot more to discuss in the future. Unfortunately, this is the end of this segment, but congratulations on your new position, and we need it. So great to have you there as that increased team down at Heritage.
Well, I'm happy to stay engaged in the policy discussion, and Dave, it's always good to be with you.
Thank you. Ken Cuccinelli, former Deputy Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, now a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Thanks, Ken. Talk to you soon. We have a lot more on our plate as this administration marches forward with its ideological agenda.
Thanks for watching the Heritage Foundation's YouTube channel. With more than 500,000 members, we are the nation's largest conservative research and education institution. We believe the principles and ideas of the American founding are worth conserving and renewing. Please help us further our mission by subscribing to this channel and sharing our videos with your family and friends.